The house remembered before it forgot. Eleanor knew this not from any ghostly whisper or slamming door, but from the feel of the wood under her palm as she climbed the stairs. The banister, worn smooth by generations of hands, held a warmth the chill autumn air could not explain. She had inherited the Victorian home from her grandmother, Ida, who had raised her here after her parents' accident. The grief of losing Ida, a slow, quiet fading rather than a sudden blow, was a hollow space inside her she was trying to fill with paint cans and moving boxes. The first oddity was the photographs. In every family album, in every framed portrait on the mantel, Eleanor's own face was blurred. In a childhood picture with Ida by the old oak, Ida's smile was crisp, but Eleanor was a smudge of blonde hair and a pink dress. In her graduation photo, her features swam as if seen through tears. A trick of the light, faltered development. She told herself, the explanation as thin as old paper. Then came the whispers, not in her ear, but in her mind, rising like a forgotten song when she was most still. They were not words, but emotions, a surge of protective fury, a pang of longing so deep it stole her breath, a hum of a lullaby she could almost remember. They felt like her own feelings, but amplified, ancient, and drenched in love. The house began to change at night. She'd wake to the scent of Ida's rosewater perfume, see the shadow of a rocking chair moving in the nursery, though the chair itself was in the attic. One midnight, drawn by the sound of crying she knew wasn't her own, she found the nursery door open. The room was empty, but the air was room-warm, and on the dusty floorboards, clear as day, were two sets of footprints. One large, one small, pacing a slow, endless circle of comfort. Fear curdled in her, but beneath it, a deeper, more terrifying emotion, recognition. She descended into the cobwebbed cellar, a place Ida had always forbidden. In the corner, under a drop cloth, she found not junk, but a shrine. Yellowed newspapers from 1952. A headline, local couple, infant daughter perish in house fire. A photograph of a young, radiant Ida, her arms around a beaming couple Eleanor had never seen. The woman held a baby. The article stated the sole survivor was a homeowner, Ida Mayhew, who was away at the time. Tragedy strikes young family, it read, but beneath that article was another, smaller, from a week later. Nurse unharmed in blaze, saves infant. And there was Ida again, her face gaunt, clutching a blanketed bundle. The next clipping was a birth certificate, issued a year later, for an Eleanor Mayhew. Mother, Ida. Father, unknown. The whispers in her mind became a rule, not of ghosts, but of a memory not her own. She saw it, felt it, Ida, the nurse, returning to a hellscape of flame. The desperate, impossible choice. The young mother, dying, pushing a living daughter into Ida's arms, her last breath a plea. Keep her, love her, let her be yours. And Ida, her heart breaking and expanding in the same instant, running into the night, the law, and her own conscience chasing her. She created a new truth, buried the old one in love and paperwork and a lifetime of fierce, quiet devotion. The house hadn't forgotten the real family. It remembered their joy, their final terror, their love. And it remembered Ida's promise, a vow so powerful it soaked into the floorboards. The ghosts weren't hauntings. They were echoes of that love and of Ida's lifelong, secret mourning for the daughter she bore but didn't birth, and the daughter she birthed but couldn't claim. The final revelation came in the attic. In Ida's old cedar chest, beneath quilts and letters, Eleanor found a small, firewarp music box. She opened it. A tinny, familiar lullaby began to play, and as it played, the room grew cold, then warm. The two shadows appeared, the young mother, the spectral father. They were not looking at Eleanor with menace, but with a yearning so profound it was a physical ache. And beside them, shimmering into view, was the ghost of young Ida, tears streaming down her transparent face. They were not trapped by anger, but by a love triangle of impossible sacrifice. The parents could not move on, bound to the child they left behind. Ida could not move on, bound by the secret and the stolen love that defined her life. And Eleanor, she was not. She stood in the center of the attic, the living heart of the mystery. The whispers crystallized into a single, clear understanding in her mind, in Ida's voice, gentle and shattered. I loved you too much to let you go, and too much to ever tell you the truth. Forgive me. The horror was not in the flickering shadows or the cryptic clues. The horror was in the love, a love so vast it committed a crime, a love so deep it created a haunted, grateful life, a love that now demanded a choice from Eleanor. She picked up the music box, the lullaby tinkling in the heavy air. She looked at the ghost of her grandmother, the thief, the savior, the only mother she had ever known. Then she looked at the other ghosts, her blood, her loss. I see you, she whispered, her voice thick with tears for three souls, and for herself. I remember you. She did not say I forgive you. The words were too small for such an ocean of feeling. Instead, she sat on the dusty floor, the music box between her knees, and began to tell them about her life, about the birthday parties, the scraped knees, the stories at bedtime. She poured the living, breathing result of her intertwined tragedy and devotion into the quiet attic. As she spoke, the shadows slowly faded, not with a pop, but with a gentle sigh of a held breath finally released. The young parents first, their forms softening into beams of dusty moonlight. Finally, Ida's ghost. She stepped forward, a translucent hand reaching as if to stroke Eleanor's hair. Her lips formed silent words, "My Eleanor," and then she was gone. The attic was just an attic. The house was just a house, its memory finally laid to rest. Eleanor sat alone in the sudden, empty silence. The haunting was over, but the grief was just beginning. A deeper, more complex grief, mourning the mother who wasn't, the grandmother who was more and less, and the girl she might have been. She was left with a terrible, beautiful truth. The most haunting thing in the world is not a monster, but the echoes of a love that was too strong to die and too wounded to ever fully live. She was the creation of that love and its final, peaceful rest. And she would have to learn how to live, carrying a heart that was now a home for ghosts who had finally found their way.